I'm Adrienne Loftus Parkins, the chair of the jury for the 2021 Moore Prize for Human Rights Writing. In November, Debbie Stoddard, Min Bowie Jones, and I were able to choose 4 extraordinary books from a long list of 8. Each of these shortlisted books offers a glimpse into a different human rights issue across the globe. Made in China by Amelia Pang is an eye-opening exposé of forced labor in China. The End of Where We Begin by Rosalind Russell is an intimate examination of the toll of the civil war in South Sudan and of life in Bidi Bidi, the largest refugee camp in Africa. Eat the Buddha by Barbara Demick reveals China's human rights abuses in Tibet, both historically and in the present day. And The Daughters of Kobani by Gail Samak Lemon introduces us to the brave women fighting against ISIS and for their own rights as members of their communities in Kurdish Syria. These 4 presented us with a huge challenge. Which of these extraordinary books should be chosen to be highlighted to the rest of the world? Any one of them could have been the 2021 winner. We read each shortlisted book 2, sometimes 3 times to discern the nuances of their stories, their literary merit, global relevance and impact, and to assess their focus on human rights. It came down to 2 books, both of which almost perfectly exemplify the objectives of the Moore Prize. The Daughters of Kobani and The End of Where We Begin prompted a long, intense discussion in December. Both are exemplary in exposing human rights abuses that have global relevance. Both are beautifully written, and each was highly impactful. But as the discussion progressed, we all realized that The End of Where We Begin shone brighter and really stood out in every aspect that the prize represents. So we are delighted to have chosen Rosalind Russell's book as our 2021 winner. In many ways, The End of Where We Begin is the ideal winner. It's a gripping story of individuals whose promising lives have been interrupted by the civil war in South Sudan, a place where the human rights abuses resulting from tribal conflict are some of the worst in today's world. It's a superb piece of reportage, a deeply moving and compelling read. Most of all, this book was highly effective in portraying the human rights issues that are at its heart. Through the real-life stories of 3 young refugees at Bidi Bidi, Russell speaks with compassion about a crisis of which the rest of the world is mostly unaware. She exposes the reader to the challenges, frustrations, fears, and heartbreaks that affect refugees everywhere. From her portraits of the lives of Daniel, Veronica, and Lillian before the war, through their harrowing journeys to Bidi Bidi, and their efforts to survive in the camp, Russell gives us an intimate understanding of what it's like to be driven by violence away from one's home, family, and community into a world where survival is a daily struggle, where mental and physical health are at constant risk, and where every effort is confronted by obstacles that seem to be insurmountable. One of the important aspects of the Moore Prize for Human Rights Writing is a book's ability to impact the reader, emotionally and intellectually, to grip the reader and inspire her or him to find out more. What struck us very strongly was the ability of The End of Where We Begin to reach deeply into our hearts and inspire us to learn more about the situation in South Sudan. It increased our understanding of what refugees must go through, no matter where they are or how they got there. Above all, The End of Where We Begin has an important message of courage, survival, and the power of the human spirit. We feel it deserves to be a classic in the understanding of the plight of refugees throughout our troubled world. We hope that the Moore Prize for Human Rights Writing inspires you to read The End of Where We Begin by Rosalind Russell.